Hey folks, welcome to Running Retro. We are playing Metroid II, rounding it out. I had never played the original Metroid, and I was late to the party on that one, but Metroid II is one of my favorites and one of the ones I've played the most of. So I thought it only made sense if I'm going to play Metroid 1, I should play Metroid 2. This game is near and dear to me. I love it. I think it is an underrated classic, and it adds a lot of things that are overlooked in the franchise. I think a lot of people probably went from Metroid 1 to Super Metroid, and it felt like a huge jump, but if they played Metroid 1 and then played Metroid 2 and seen the advancement there, in a way it makes Super Metroid even more special because of how much they refine what's in this and how much of a refinement this is of number 1. So without further ado, we will get back into it. We had just dropped down into a secret area and skipped one Metroid, and we will pick up where we left off. So as you can see in the lower right hand corner, there are a number next to those Metroids, and we are going through the game trying to eradicate all of the Metroids. I am playing this on a Super Game Boy, so it is in color, whereas in the original Game Boy it was just black and white, or grayscale. And I really do think the Super Game Boy is the way to play it. It's very, very aesthetically pleasing. Unlike the original Metroid, getting the different power-ups here for the weapons is quite nice. So with the original Metroid, you have to have the Ice Beam at the end. So it can be a little bit obnoxious when you get the Wave Beam, and suddenly you're in this spot where you have the Wave Beam, but you need to get the Ice Beam again in order to be able to finish the game. And it feels really bad. So here, you don't get punished for getting the Wave Beam, which is, I think, a really nice perk. One thing you can also do here is you can clip through blocks, if you can actually hit them. You know, those standing targets, man, they're hard to hit. Yeah. Oh, I missed it. I got it, but I messed up on actually getting the clip. Yeah, there we go. And I really like that. It saves you from having to get the high jump boots and go back quite as much. And it's not difficult to do, I might add. Anyone who wants to do that can easily do that with very little effort. So that is something that is said a lot about this game, that it is too linear. And I actually think that's quite a charming quality, because if you just want to pick up a Metroid game and play a Metroid game, this is a really good one to just pick up and play. It's not the most difficult, it has some challenging moments, and at the same time it's really, really fun, it's really innovative, it feels really smooth and responsive when playing it. It really is an underrated classic, I think. There is a lot more nuance to something like Super Metroid, and that's not to take away from Super Metroid, and what a great game that is. But this game really is one of those, it has a lot more charming qualities than it gets credit for having. Man, you feel kind of like you do at the end with Mother Brain. All those onion rings. I like the high jump boots in this game too. You can already jump pretty high when you first start playing the game. It's not like it's that bad, but... And every single one of these Chozo statues has a secret there. Actually, the spider ball can work against you because you don't realize that there's actually you'll go into a secret wall and then it will loop you back around. and you won't really realize it until you come back out the other side. And one thing I do like about this game that I mentioned last time is that there are secrets in the game like that, but it almost always gives you an opportunity to see the secret. So it's not like Metroid 1, where there's an E-tank in the wall and you have no idea that it's there. You have every idea that it's there if you've done any exploration. So you know somewhere around here there has to be a way to go get that. And that's something I do like in games. I hate it when something is entirely hidden from me. That really bothers me. I also like that in this, instead of like the climb out from Kraid in the first, you have alternative ways to move through the level, so that you don't just have to go and suck up perfect shots on the blocks. I know that's not entirely fair. They're not perfect, but they're close enough that they're frustrating. So that one of the other improvements in this is you can duck and shoot, and when you're jumping you can shoot down. Those are huge perks. However, one thing that does need to be mentioned is, unlike in Super Metroid, you cannot morph ball in the air, and that would have been a really nice thing. That was one of those things that was not actually released in this one, but or not a feature that was included in this one, but it would have been a nice quality of life thing if it had been. And when you kill all the Metroids in an area, you'll get the area shaking like that, and you know you've gotten all the Metroids. You can do some things like what I just did there. When you get the spring ball, you can jump and then go into sticky mode, but that's, usually that's nice but not particularly helpful. Same thing there, where you can bomb jump and then go into sticky, the spider ball. It's fine, but it still would have been nice to have had some other options. This guy's really weird, because there's no other power-up in the game that you actually have to beat an enemy to get. And I don't know why they decided to throw that one random fight in here. It's a cool fight. It's really fun, and it feels sort of like Metroid Prime will later, where you have to fight the enemies and get the power-ups that they've stolen from you. But it does seem kind of out of place. However, it can't be understated that I do feel like it's paving the way, too, for future Metroids. And that's what I think this game is. I think this game really is the one that ironed out the kinks and paved the way for the rest. I was trying to do something there. Obviously, I just took a lot of pain and failed at what I was trying to do anyway. The scope of the visual scope that you have is so limiting that can be somewhat frustrating, because you just can't see an enemy in time. You can learn it after you get hit by it, but sometimes it can be very hard to see an enemy beforehand and plan for them in the future. Pretty sure I could knock down this time so it would actually make the leaderboards on the speedrun. The spring ball is so sweet through here. Just skip right over those things. All they do is go down into the sand. They don't do much. So you still can't stack power-ups in this game. That doesn't come till Super Metroid. But you will find like the wave beam goes through things, and things don't get like the ice effect added to them and stuff like that. But the power-ups in this game, this does add the wave, not the wave beam, the plasma beam. And the plasma beam also goes through walls. So the plasma beam is kind of like the wave beam plus your regular shot. So I did like the fact that they added effects so that even though your upgrades, your weapon upgrades don't stack, they effectively do because they're all add-ons. It would have been nice if they just simplified it and, you know, the first one you get is ice, and then wave beam gives you ice plus wave, and so forth and so on. That would have been nice. But on the other hand, I think people might complain more if you had to have the ice effect in your shot and you didn't get a choice for it. That might actually be more irritating. I'm addicted to picking up health drops if I can. But come on, who isn't? So I could have gone there, but I decided that it was better to pick up one other power-up first. And that's what I'm going to do now. Still have to come up here anyway, take out some Metroids, so it's not even out of the way. It's just taking care of one section of this area. I also hate the area at the end of this, so that's a nice missile, full missile upgrade. I mean, full missile refill there too. I don't know how I didn't grab that. I guess I was just like one pixel off, but so where I went in and walked back from is really in a lot of ways more of a maze, and I find it really easy to get lost in it. Those little spiky dudes are really good at hitting you multiple times. They're kind of irritating for that, actually. I thought there was a secret down in here, but I just couldn't remember, so I figured I'd test it out and see what happened. And indeed there is. And that's something I also really like about this game, is that with the power-ups, hey, there's space jump. With the power-ups, like, it feels like this place has been overrun and forgotten. There's the door that used to be here, and everything's just collapsed. And I think aesthetically, it's really very pleasing because of that. And it's like the environments are great in the other Metroids, but they also had more graphical capabilities in, you know, almost all of them except for this one. So they had to come up with it with some form of variety instead of with color. And I think they really hit that right on the head. I hate those enemies, man. I hate those enemies. They are not my friend. But when they just sit there and they're facing away from you, they're wonderful. You better believe I will take advantage of that. This game also introduces the Spazer. So, two of the main weapons in Metroid are included and introduced here. As well as the space jump, the spring ball. Like, man, this game just has so much going for it. It's so cool. I'd be really interested to know, and let me know in the comments, if other people have trouble space jumping in Metroid games. Like, it doesn't quite jive. One other interesting thing in this is that if you get hit, you can jump again. And I've discovered that sort of by accident. I like the way they just sneak a Metroid in here. Like, you know, out of blue, you just go through a door, suddenly you're free-falling, and hey, here's a boss. It's kind of cool. Just a beta Metroid, nothing too bad, but the environment you fight them in is really great. And that's another thing that's actually really wonderful about this game, is the environments that you fight the enemies in. The first few, you know, they give you a learning curve, and they allow you to just stand on a platform and fight a Metroid. But then, the longer you go on, very, very, very quickly, it becomes these sort of awkward environments. I should just spring-balled up there. I don't know why I spider-balled it, but eh. Not that much of a difference. You can see how close to your bombs you effectively are. So that's something that I was talking about last time, is the scope of your view is pretty narrow, and it can be pretty awkward to actually try and drop a bomb when you're in spider ball form and not get hit by your own bomb. Metroids can also float through those platforms, and you obviously cannot, so that can create some pretty tense moments where you're just locked somewhere and there's nothing you can do about it. The only sad thing is you get Spazer and you immediately get Plasma. And Plasma does so much damage. I like it. Spazer, I suppose there's an argument for never getting rid of Spazer, but Plasma's just so oomphy. So oomphy. There are a lot of missile upgrades in this. It feels pretty good, and you need them all by the end of the game too, which is also really nice. Jumping through those spikes is kind of frustrating. I never quite understood exactly where those guys start shooting lava down at you. I definitely couldn't remember where the secret is there. Why am I heading back? I need to go back to where I was, and yeah, I'm just being an idiot there. I definitely should be going up here, bombing up the top there. Yep. There you go. And this time I springball jumped and managed to get the stick. Made quick work of that guy. Sorry, my chair is a little rattly. Nice to get full energy from E-tanks. At least that was always the case in every Metroid. One complaint that I can't hold against the first one. playing Metroid 1 after not having ever played it was, you know, and having played almost every other one in the series was really interesting, but... So, for full disclosure, I have not played... I have not played Metroid Prime Echoes. And what, 3, which is what, Corruption? I've never played Corruption. I've played a small amount of Echoes. I was not a huge fan when I played it, but I'm open to my mind being changed on that one, for sure. I hate these guys. They do so much damage, but that's what I was saying, when you get hit, you can just jump again, so that's actually really, really useful. I wish they hadn't made this so sort of weird and obscure to get, but that they would have just let you go from the top and shoot down and go straight into it. Like, you've opened it up, you know it's there, or you know something's there because something looks askew on the screen. So just let the player come in from the top rather than going all the way around to the bottom. I wonder if it's a way that they program missiles in the game, but I don't know for sure. This section is just such a labyrinth. I always feel like I'm gonna miss something, and I usually do miss a Metroid. This Metroid's oddly easy. Yeah, this Metroid's oddly easy because you just get in this corner. It's not gonna do enough damage to you to kill you, unless you've taken a lot of damage between then and now. But too bad we've got space jump, but we aren't screwy yet. Because that'd be sweet. I guess spoilers, yes, the screw attack does exist in this game. So the first game that I actually played, I hate these platforms. They're really not very fun. The first Metroid game I actually played was Metroid Prime. Which is a weird first, but somehow I missed Super Metroid, which, as you guys know, I played so much in the way of Super Nintendo games that it's weird that I missed that one of all, but did. And it stinks, too, because it means that I can't enjoy the super nostalgia of that game. It really is kind of a pity. Oh well. I've enjoyed it regardless. Yeah, also, if you guys mention in the comments if I have trouble with space jump sometimes, but also if you have just jumping in a ball, if that is a problem. There is a health refill high up above, but it's guarded by one of those little, like, flies. And it's really, really obnoxious to get and not take damage. So I find most of the time it isn't worth it. Besides, once you have the suit, you've got enough health for this area. You don't need to be too careful. With all the Metroids, though, running out of missiles is a very real thing. I have done it a number of times. And the pits are really frightening in this game. And the space jump is really awesome in this game. It's weird, I'm a lot better at doing like short hops with the space jump than with doing full arcing space jumps. Don't know why. Made a mistake. I needed to go, yep, right there. Good thing is there is a save point. Bad thing is it's a little irritating to get to, but if you fall down here and you don't have the space jump and you're toast. It's one of the reasons I went and I got the space jump. In fact, I think I'm supposed to go all the way to the top here, and I just forgot. So I need to backtrack all the way back up to the top. Not be a chucklehead. Unless it's a later area. I can't remember. This part I always get a little bit turned around. So even commentating it, I get turned around. One more beta Metroid down. And 21 Metroids to go. Shove my noggin and there's some stinging metal there too. The space jump is so good, but it's so hard to use in this area because there's so many things that stop you. Every single one of these little net-looking things, or almost looks like fencing wire, will absorb a full missile. So if you don't clear this out a bit and get that Metroid into a spot where it's actually you've got a clear shot at it, you'll just knock out one square of that stuff. That Metroid can hit you through the wall, and I always forget how to get over to him. You actually have to go in his shell, and it's a secret. And that's the only way to get back out, too. You can see the problem here. I think, in fact, I do get a missile eaten by the netting here. Or whatever that stuff is. You can see what I missed there, though, that it does that. Yeah, I always felt like there should have been a way out on top to go quickly, but there isn't. You just have to go back through here. I do like the way that Samus pops up through that. It's kind of fun. I also like how the environment looks different. The color palette is clearly the same, but Samus, the environment Samus is traversing does look a little something, but different, a different something. There are so many Metroids through this area. It's kind of silly. Probably could have used with a couple fewer, actually. Like, get rid of the alphas and just keep the betas. That might be nice. I also really like in this game how sometimes you see what's coming, and sometimes you're in the same room, you see the shell, you're like, alright, well, you know, a Metroid's gonna birth out of that. And then sometimes you see the shell and you just have no idea when the boss is coming. It's kind of cool. I didn't notice that I actually managed to land that last hit from above. I thought you had to hit them below. But I'll bet that what actually happened was the plasma beam. Well, no, you have to hit them with missiles. I was gonna say I'll bet it was the plasma beam went all the way through, but you have to shoot it with missiles, so that's not the case. So the Gamma Metroids must be weak in another spot other than just their belly. That's kind of cool. little amoebas floating around through here. So I always miss one of these Metroids. And these guys can be a real pain, because if they just eat all of your missiles, it's not like there's a pattern for when they do that that lightning thing. So they can eat a ton of missiles, and sometimes you can just run out. I never remember where this goes, so I always end up checking it, and I never end up needing to go that way. At least Spring Ball makes that easy. So I actually did do one run before this run, and I recorded it, and I was going to use it for this footage. But what I found was I just wasn't satisfied. It had been a while since I'd played the game, and it was not satisfying to have made some of the mistakes that I made. And the last fight in particular is like that. Look at that. Look at how many missiles. He just ate 4 missiles. Like nothing that could be done about that. Done. But yeah. So the final boss fight, I'd really made a bunch of mistakes, and the final section. It's such a relief, by the way, to see the screen shake there. But the final section is kind of brutal. Get our way back out of this maze. I actually didn't mean to stand back up there. That was just that just sort of happened. So. Little energy. It would have been nice to have gotten another energy refill somewhere around there, but we have what you see, folks. We have what you see, and we'll have to deal with that. I love these octopi enemy. I don't know why. I just think they're, first of all, they drop big healths, which is sweet. But also, for some reason, I don't know, I think they look kind of cool. They're my favorite enemy in this game. They're no different than the little itty-bitty ones, except they hit harder, but they're like the big grown-up boys, and they just look like they're... I don't know, there's something about them that really does feel like they're lurking. They're lying in wait for you. Turn you into a morsel. A tidbit. A nibbly bit. But it really is nice how much health they drop. Being able to jump and shoot down is such a nice feeling. I can't describe having played Metroid 1 and not being able to do that. It drove me nuts. Alright folks, we will pause it there today, and we will pick it back up next week. So go ahead, and if you like this, like, subscribe, and hit the bell on your way out. check out our other content. On Thursdays, we do mods, repairs, and just sort of stuff for the community to try and help people if they're working on their systems. If there's something you need help with or something you'd like to see, let us know down in the comments, or check out our social media with Twitter, Facebook. We have a Discord that feel free to jump in, like to talk about old games and just have a good time in there. Join us for our streams. We stream Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Wednesday and Friday are both at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays are RPGs. Fridays just sort of a fun day for if the community would like to see something, then and I've got it. I'm happy to do it. My full catalog is on our website, runningretro.com. So if you are looking for something that you'd like to see, maybe it's on there, and let us know. Then Saturdays, our stream starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we end up playing a game until we get good at it. We play an old game that either I've never played or is really hard, or both, and see how good we can get at it, if we can get to the point where we're actually decent at the game. And sometimes we beat them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get them good, sometimes they get us good. So, go ahead and check us out. Give us a follow. Join the community. And we will see you. We'll see you soon. Thank you.